Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Edna.
And I'm Isabel Wong. Here are tonight's top stories. EOC finds number of national sports associations with anti-sexual harassment policies up in the past 5 years, but says there's room for improvement.
Over 40,000 applicants hope to win a permit to buy a subsidized housing authority flat, but each flat has 14 hopefuls.
And government says it will not lift export limit on baby milk powder.
The number of national sports associations that have anti-sexual harassment policies in place has increased from 7 to 22 in the past 5 years, according to a survey by the Equal Opportunities Commission.
While the Commission said it was encouraged by the result, it believed there was room for improvement. Here's Rani Chan.
A recent survey has found that over half of national sports associations in Hong Kong have established anti-sexual harassment policies. The Equal Opportunities Commission polled 79 NSAs from July to October last year on their strategies to prevent sexual harassment. Out of 42 associations that responded, 22 said they had put policies in place. That was up from 7 in 2014. Another 17 associations were expected to complete their policy formulations by the end of this year. Acting Chief Operations Officer Ferrick Chu said the findings were encouraging, but there was still room for improvement.
What I can say is it's encouraging, but not up to my satisfaction. I've mentioned earlier, it is in the interest of the NSA to have their own policy, because when there's a dispute going to the court, the only defense available to them is that they have done all practicable, reasonable steps to prevent it from happening. These steps include having a policy, having a complaint handling mechanism, and they seriously handle all complaints.
The survey also revealed that NSAs received a total of 7 sexual harassment complaints in the past 3 years. Chu believed that was only the tip of the iceberg, as victims were often scared to speak up or did not know who to turn to for help. The Commission urged the associations to upload their policies onto the internet so that its members could refer to them when needed. There should also be an officer specifically responsible for handling sexual harassment complaints. Riley Chan, HKIBC.
A ballot was drawn by the Housing Authority today to determine which of the 40,200 applicants who wanted to purchase a subsidized flat would get a chance to do so.
But competition was fierce as every flat had 14 people hoping to buy it. Riley Chan reports.
Today's ballot results of the Housing Authority's Green Form subsidized home ownership scheme showed that property ownership was still a dream many Hong Kongers wanted to achieve. Over 40,200 applicants hoped to obtain one of the 2,545 permits, oversubscribed by 14 times. The permits gave people a chance to buy a home ownership scheme flat in Cheung Sha Wan at a 58% discount of the market value. Applicants must check whether the last 2 digits of their application number matched a number on screen. If there were multiple matches for the same 2 digits, another lottery would be held later. Eligible applicants will be invited to select a flat starting next month. We are so happy, it's like winning the lottery, this newlywed couple said. But not everyone was as lucky.
79.
It's really hard to purchase a flat these days. I live with elderly people and was hoping to improve the living condition with this scheme, this applicant said.
We had basically anticipated there's going to be a huge number of demand for the GHS that we're pushing out. Particularly this round of GHS is actually at a very convenient location at Sam Shui Po.
The units are located in Lai Shui Kok in Cheung Sha Wan. With an average price of $6,243 per square foot, buyers can snap up a 184 square foot unit for as cheap as $930,000. The largest home measures 452 square feet and costs around $3 million. But only those who are eligible for public rental housing can purchase the units. Riley Chan, HKIBC.
The government says it will not lift an export restriction on baby milk powder, citing ongoing concerns of parallel trading.
Lawmakers from across the political spectrum supported the move, but the Liberal Party believed it would only deepen divisions between Hong Kong and the mainland. Wong reports.
Local parents unable to find baby formula for their child had reached alarming levels several years ago. The milk powder was being snapped up by parallel traders who resold the products in the mainland for a hefty profit. The government tried to stop the practice by imposing an export restriction in 2013, which allowed each person to take no more than 2 cans of milk powder out of Hong Kong. Last year, the Food and Health Bureau began a review of the export restriction and revealed today that the limit would continue. The Bureau said in a statement that parallel trading was still persistent despite the export controls, with around 3,800 breaches of the limit every year since 2016. It said the demand for baby formula by non-local customers was still huge, and lifting the restriction could lead to another shortage. Chief Secretary Matthew Chang applauded the Bureau's decision and believed it had balanced the interests of both local and non-local customers. Several pan-Democrat and pro-establishment lawmakers also voiced support for keeping the restriction in place and urged the government to enhance its implementation. But the pro-business Liberal Party was against the curb, saying it would only deepen divisions between Hong Kong and the mainland. The General Chamber of Pharmacy also criticized the move, believing it could harm Hong Kong's reputation as a free trade hub. Wong, HK-IBC.
Pro-Beijing activist Letitia Lee was bound over for 18 months for corruption during the 2016 Legislative Council election. Lee was accused of receiving 9 election donations totaling $22,500